Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for choosing to watch this video. We've produced this to give people who haven't had the opportunity to be at the mine to get a more realistic idea of what goes on at Blanket Mine. We've also tried to show the introduction of our mechanized mining methods, where you'll see the use of LHDs in some of our declines, and then generally just walking through the process of mining at Blanket and the production of gold. You will get a very much better idea of the quality that exists at Blanket, but you don't really get the feeling of scale, and it always is very impressive to hear what people say when they've actually made the trip to the mine and they've seen it for themselves. We don't show a lot about the new development on the central shaft on this video, and that will come in a future presentation as we get close to the completion of that project. But this is a good introduction, and we hope you enjoy it. And once again, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy.
Caledonia Mining is the proud owner and operator of the Blanket Gold Mine, located in the Gwanda Greenstone Belt in Zimbabwe. The mine is jointly owned by Caledonia and our local Zimbabwean partners, including the mine employees, the local community, the Zimbabwean government, and private Zimbabwean citizens. Operations began at the mine over 110 years ago in 1906. Since then, the mine has produced over 1.1 million ounces of gold to date, and with a further 1.3 million ounces of resource, the mine's long history is expected to continue for many years to come. Using a combination of conventional drill and blast and long-hole stoping operations, gold-bearing ore is blasted and loaded into shovels for transport to the surface. An extensive system of underground conveyor belts, rail tracks and locomotives move the ore underground at a depth of 750 meters through a system of development tunnels which lead to the number 4 shaft, the company's main production shaft, which hauls the ore to surface. The extraction of gold involves the breaking down of gold-bearing ore into increasingly smaller and smaller particles until the gold can be economically extracted. This process begins with blasting and continues at several stages throughout the mining process. The first underground crushing of oversized rocks takes place before the ore is hoisted to surface. Once the rocks have been crushed, ore is loaded into the number 4 shaft skip, where it begins its journey to surface. This will be the first time that this rock has seen sunlight for over 1 billion years. Ore is loaded into coarse ore silos, where it is stored for processing and gold extraction. The ore is crushed further with a series of primary crushers and loaded into a coarse ore stockpile, where it awaits further processing. A series of vibrating screens separate out any oversized rocks for additional crushing in the secondary crushing circuit, which makes use of cone crushers. These break the ore down further until it reaches the consistency of coarse gravel. The ore, which now has a visibly finer particle size and consistency, is ready to proceed to the milling circuit. It is stored temporarily in a fine ore bin to ensure that there is an adequate buffer capacity to feed the grinding mill with a consistent feed. The next stage in the comminution process involves tumbling the ore in a large drum filled with steel balls. These mills grind the ore down to the consistency of caster sugar, after which the first gold can be economically extracted. The Gemini table relies on the difference in density between gold and the surrounding rock to separate out the gold through shaking the ore on a specifically designed table. The system uses gravity and the shaking motion of the table to separate out the first gold from the process. Caledonia Mining is fortunate that approximately 50% of the gold we produce is recovered through this simple but ingenious piece of equipment. This helps keep processing costs low and improves the recovery and efficiency of the entire process. Here a thin ribbon of gold can be seen gravitating towards the center of the table and is ready to be smelted into bars. After the Gemini table, the remaining ore, which is still rich in gold content, is ground finer in a reground circuit down to the consistency of baking flour, which will enable further extraction of gold through the use of cyanide. The cyanide in leach process uses the unique properties of cyanide to dissolve the gold from the surrounding host rock. In a similar way to the fact that water will dissolve sugar and salt but will not dissolve sand, the ground ore is mixed in giant tanks with cyanide in order to dissolve and extract the gold. Once the gold is dissolved in cyanide, it can be filtered from the solution with activated carbon and extracted to be smelted into bars. The smelting process uses a gas furnace to melt the gold and burn off many of the impurities that may still be present. At this stage in the process, the gold is approximately 80% pure, with a small amount of silver and some other metals present. The pouring of a gold doré bar marks the end of a long concentration process which has taken the gold from approximately 3.3 parts per million when it was blasted out of the ground to a purity level of approximately 80%, an increase in gold concentration of over 240 million times. The remaining slag containing impurities is removed to reveal a doré bar, which is sent to the gold refinery for further processing, where it is upgraded from 80% purity to 99.999% purity and sold on the international market. Caledonia Mining is proud to be associated with the production of safe, profitable and sustainable gold from this historic Zimbabwean gold mining region.
Wow.